Okay, let's get started. Welcome, welcome. This is session 6 of our Money Moves Academy and our Financial Freedom Lab. We will be focusing today on the simple path to wealth. We had a previous session where we focused on beginning investing. This is an addendum to that because there was a very important piece that was not included. So we're going to bring that piece back around so that we have that information so that we're not missing any pieces on our beginning investment long-term strategy. Okay. So let's get these parties started. So that's me, Dana Mack. I will be your guide today. And remember, this is all for informational purposes only. I am not a financial advisor. Do your own research, but I am here to educate and to give information. And I'm dedicated to financial literacy and generational wealth. Okay. So if anything here you learned today, and you put it into practice, make sure that you, again, do your research and make sure you know exactly the decisions that you're making for you. Okay. So here's to that, T. Yes. So let's get into it. So, why this session changes everything. So, today we're going to be focused on why you don't need a financial advisor taking your money and how to invest with almost zero risk long term, and the simplest way to become a millionaire. Why starting now, even with $10 beats waiting. Okay. So keep that in mind. Okay. Come on now, slides. Get it together. So I wanted to do something extra special, and I don't know why all of a sudden this thing wants to act funny with me. But we're going to keep going, okay? So let's get, come on, button. Okay. So the problem we're solving is we got to be real with it. You work hard for your money. You know that sometimes we spend on things that disappear, coffee, subscription. Our money might be just sitting in bank accounts earning nothing. Or inflation is eating away at our savings if it's not in the high yield savings account. And our financial advisors charge 1 to 2% fees, just stealing our wealth. Not something that we want to keep going and going and going because we could be using our money to work for us while we sleep. Okay. I would really, come on, Slowpoke. So let's meet the champion of the day. This is John Bogle. He is responsible for Vanguard. So last session, we talked about Fidelity as an investment brokerage firm. We talked about M1 Financial. We did touch a little bit on Vanguard, but not in the way that I want to touch on today. I gave it as an option, but I really want you to think about it as in addition to you getting Fidelity and getting M1, simply because the founder, the gentleman you see here, He invented the index fund, which is what we want to focus on today as we learn about these long-term strategies. So in 1975, John Bogle created the first index fund for everyday people like me and you. His big idea was instead of paying expensive fund managers to try to beat the market, why not just buy the whole market for almost no cost, right? Sounds great? It does. His discovery, just buying and holding the entire market beats 90% of professional investors. This is why you don't need your financial advisor because you're learning this stuff right now in real time, okay? So, what is Vanguard? Again, founded by John Bogle in 1975, owned by its investors. That means you. So, they have the lowest fees in the industry. They're not trying to profit off for you. It's simple, straightforward investing and over 8 trillion in assets, trusted by millions of people. So the magic product that they have is an index fund that's called the VTSAX. That would be the ticker that you would find looking for it. It's the Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund with admirable shares. What is in it? It's one fund that has over 3,000 US companies, okay? You can buy that and have it in one investment and you own it. So it includes things like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Walmart, Target, Costco, Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, every sector of every industry. So that means electronics is in there as well, okay? And because of that, it makes it less risky when you purchase it. You have over 3,500 of the top companies, okay? So why is VTSAX perfect for building your wealth? Well, instant diversification. Diversification means we're not focused on just one stock in one company, which makes us volatile because if something was to happen with that stock and it plummets, then that's how you can lose all your money. But if you have it across a sector, right, with so many different companies, your money's more stable. So it's less risk tolerance, okay? Incredibly low cost, 0.04%. That's only $4 per $10,000. Automatic rebalancing. What does that mean? So if we have a stock that we'll use Target, for example, we know the stocks are plummeting, right? Because of the things that we're doing as a people to stand up together and, make them accountable for removing their DEI. Well, because they're in there, if they're going lower, we have other stocks that are going to help to balance that out, right? But you don't have to go in and do that. The VTSAX will do it automatically. So you don't have to go in and say, okay, since they're plummeting, let me reallocate. It does it. No guessing. You're betting on America's economy. And when you look at the research over the 10 to 12 years, which is what you want to do to help you understand stocks better so that you don't get afraid when the stock market even crashes, which we haven't had a crash since probably 2008. It's inevitable, but that is not a time for you to panic. That's how we learn how to use it to our advantage. This is not about using your emotions. This is about understanding what the history says, but over time is how you make the money, okay? And with that scenario I just gave you, it has a 10% average on its annual returns. You can't beat that. So compared to your financial advisor, which is 100 to 200 per year on the same $10,000, you don't need them, okay? So The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins. This is the book that this is all based on. He did not create VTSAX. We know that that's John Bogle. But what he did was he was making writing letters to his daughter to help her understand when she would come to him with questions because he wanted her to be able to benefit from the stock market. Those letters turned into a blog that he was writing, and that blog turned into this book. So in a minute, we're going to watch a video so you can actually see him in action and hear more about it. But he wrote it for the regular person, just like me and you, who achieve financial independence through simple index fund investing. The stock market is powerful and you should be investing, but you don't need to make it complicated. Just buy VTSAX and chill. That's a quote from J.L. Collins, right? So, in his Simple Path to Wealth, and this is a book that I did discuss when we had the previous session when we talked about beginning investing. You got to spend less than you earn and invest that difference in VTSAX for this session we're talking about. But before we were saying investing it, period. Avoid debt, stay the course through the ups and the downs of the stock market, and let compound interest work its magic. That is the key there, right? And that's it. That's how the whole strategy works. And it does actually work. Okay. Uh-oh, here we go again. Let's go back. I wanted to make this cool, this one a little different than how I usually make them. And there's some things that I still got to work out, but we're going to keep it going. So, real talk, why this path works. The US stock market has crashed many times. We just talked about that. The Great Depression, Black Monday in 1987, the dot-com crash, 2008 financial crisis, and COVID-19. So that will be 2020, right? Every single time people panic and sold. But people who stay invested became wealthy. So keep that in mind, because as you are learning this information, building in your investments, or even just starting out, you don't want to be that panic person, right? And it's clear for me to point out we've lost money on other things that we can't even get back to. So, not investing is something that we want to have a mindset shift around so that we're taking advantage of things in a way that shows that we care about not just ourselves, but our families, and we want to build that generational wealth, okay? And so, just like this Phoenix here, it'll rise again. Don't even worry about the stock market, it'll rise, okay? So, let's look at the math. Scenario one, the math that will blow your mind. If you start at age 25 and you invest at 200 a month, that's $50 a week. Average return 10% per year. Time 40 years until age 65. If you invested 96,000 of your own money, the market grew it to over $1 million. You see that number there? You see that. You see that. The math scenario 2 and 3, the true cost of waiting. So starting at age 35, invested $200 a month for 30 years, total invested 72,000, accumulated 380,000. So that lost time, $682,000. So I don't want to even look at scenario 3, but we got to keep going. Scenario 3, age 45, again, 200 a month, 20 years. Total invested, 48,000. Accumulated, 137,000. By not knowing this information, and I'm not going to vilify us because we don't know, 925,000, that's almost $1 million right there. So those early years matter tremendously because of compound growth. So starting now and starting today. But the good thing is that you can pass this on to those who are in your family, your children, other family members, but just let them know time is truly on their side. Okay. So compound interest. Albert Einstein called it the eighth wonder of the world, right? Why? Because your money makes money. Then that new money makes more money. exponentially. And the simple example is investing $1,000 once in 10 years. You got 2,594 bucks, 20 years, 6,727 bucks. Year 30, 17,449 bucks. Year 40, 45,259 bucks. That's if you didn't put anything else in. 40 years later, look what it's worth. So that's that snowball effect, right? Coming down that mountain, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay. So that's the focus. That eighth wonder is the compound interest. But imagine what happens when you add more money to it. So your path to financial freedom starts now. Building wealth isn't complicated, but we've been taught that it is because we see movies with, those on Wall Street, we watch the news, we see the ticker symbols, we see them in their, trading live, and we're like, "Oh my, that's definitely hard." We don't even have to go that path. You don't have to be a day trader. You just need to be a sit and wait, you know, and putting the money in using that dollar cost averaging, right? And set it and forget it. That's all you got to do. So start investing today. Even small amounts like 10 or 50 a week add up dramatically over time. Invest in VTSAX. Buy the entire stock market, the US stock market, one simple low cost fund, and stay the course. Ignore the noise, avoid the panic selling, and let compound interest do its work. Build the generational wealth. This simple strategy is your key to a secure financial future for you and your family. It's power in your hands. Look at that. It's just grow, 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 grow. So just look at the daily coffee example for all of you coffee drinkers out there. It could be $1 million. Small daily expenses might seem insignificant, but over time, they represent massive missed opportunities for wealth growth. Let's see how quickly they add up and invested in VTSAX. So daily coffee habit, $5 a day, 365 days a year. That's $1,825 a year. Invested over 40 years, $863,000, right? Forgotten streaming services. I know that I had to go and recorrect some things that I'm like, I don't even know that I was paying for that. I just had something get recorrected the other day with my Apple Card because I did not allow that, but I didn't turn it off. And so it said, I'm going to charge her 3 subscriptions at 15 a month, 540 bucks a year, invested over 40 years, 255,000. Buying lunch out, 12 bucks a day, 5 days equals 50 weeks, 3,000 a year, invested for 40 years, 1,417 bucks. Who doesn't want to have that? So it's rethinking. It might be quick, it might get the job done at that moment, but what are we sacrificing over the long term, right? And then you'll have some, investment gurus say, go ahead and buy that coffee. No one's telling you to deprive yourself. But if you know that you have a habit and it's just out of control, you want to correct that and think about what you can be doing with that money instead. That's going to make more sense for you and your family. Why you don't need a financial advisor. Avoid unnecessary fees and keep your wealth. Let's look at a powerful example. How much wealth is lost to an advisor fees over time? This calculation assumes that $100,000 initial investment for 30 years with a 10% average annual return. Without an advisor, and say it was invested in VTSAX, you got 1,627 bucks. Your money works for you with minimal drag. With an advisor with a 1% fee, look, it costs you 489,000. And we think, when we say, "Oh, I have an advisor," we're sounding like we're savvy or we're sounding as if we're doing the right thing. No, the right thing is taking the time to use classes like this, YouTube University, reading a book for criminy sakes, and understanding that you can do this. You can do this. And what they do, basically nothing that you can't do yourself with VTSAX. Keep your money, you earned it. If you have not already listened to the link that I sent with the Simple Path to Wealth on YouTube, free, where they even break it down. I also sent J.L. Collins talking to Hassan Minaj. He is a comedian. and they sit down and do the podcast, and they go through the steps of how you do the investing and the dollar cost averaging. But he also tells you you don't need a financial advisor because these are things that you can learn, and it's simple. And that's why he calls it the simple path to wealth, because he keeps it very simple for you to follow. Okay. The advisor fee breakdown, the true cost of financial advice. Let's illustrate the real impact of fees over time. And this doesn't mean that you can't pay someone a one-time fee to help you understand things better, but to have them on a regular payment schedule with a 1% fee for something that you did with a like a brokerage firm, or maybe you went to Merrill Lynch, maybe you went to the bank. You don't have to do that. You can do this yourself, okay? So this is the real impact. With the Vanguard, let's see, fees paid 4,800, final balance 987,000, working for you 982 and 200. Your money is staying working for you, growing significantly. Financial advisor 1% fee, you're going to pay them 143,000, final balance 867, working for you 724. A substantial portion of your wealth is diverted to fees. You know, and I know we could do something with that $143,000. So when you look at it from this whole perspective, the advisor just took 258,000 from your family. That's almost 3 times what you initially invested over the 30 years. We don't want to do that. No, thank you. No, thank you. So, time in the market myth. You hear a lot of investment gurus talking about, oh, we just need to time the market when it's more appropriate. Well, what's more important is that time in the market beats timing the market. And that's real data over 30 years. You just have to start and stop waiting for a special time. I'm going to wait till I do this or that, or, again, we can start with the same money that we're using when we're, going out to eat, and just, limiting some of our expenditures and keeping the focus on what we want to create, which is wealth, right? So when stock prices drop, most people panic. Smart investors get excited. Everything just went on sale. Think of it this way. So a bear market is the opposite of a bull market. Bull market means, things are heading and charging, and, the market is doing great. Bear market, things start to plummet. That's the time that you want to buy, right? So when you have people who panicked and sold, again, they locked in huge losses, often selling at the bottom. People who kept buying at 12 bucks effectively doubled their money as it recovered. And this is what took place during the 2008 financial crisis. VTSAX dropped from 25 bucks to 12 bucks. So when the market crashes, celebrate and keep buying. Buy more. Don't panic, okay? Don't panic. So how to start today with your VTSAX journey? Well, you got to start now. Ready to take the control of your future? Here's a simple 6-step guide to get you started with VTSAX today. It's easier than you think. So you open the Vanguard account. You fund your account. But let me tell you this, okay? Well, let me go through them first, and I'll give you this other piece. Buy VTSAX. Search for the ticker VTSAX and initiate your purchase. But remember, all of these brokerage houses have people who can help you. I would encourage you to look on YouTube, which we're going to go to in a second, and just hear some more information about it. But they have customer service. Fidelity has it for 24/7, right? I'm sure Vanguard has the same. Set up automatic investments, automate regular contributions, ideally with each payday. And then turn on dividend reinvestment. So that's basically called DRIP, meaning whenever you get some money, it just automatically reinvest back into what you're already creating. So this is a special thing that you want to know. With VTSAS, they have a minimum of $3,000 that you have to put in. But an alternative would be VTI. It's an ETF version of VTSAX. You're getting the same companies, and there's no minimum. Or you could do VTMSX. that has $1,000 minimum. But I would lean more to VTI if you don't have the 3,000 yet to do the VTSAX. Okay. And then resist the urge to constantly check, let the time and consistency do the heavy lifting. Okay. And you can build up to this. You can use your other investments to get to that 3,000. You can, you know, figure out our final class is going to be about business. So I want you to already start thinking about your 7 streams of incomes because most millionaires have 7 streams of income. So start thinking about that. This is how you can get to that $3,000 if you don't already have it saved up to put into VTSAX. Okay. But I also want us to think about some of us got these nice bags that we purchased, Louis Vuitton bags, Gucci bags that probably already cost that amount. That had we had this information, we would have never have done that ever. And China done put the word out. Getting something that's a knockoff looks just as good. Don't clock that T, okay? Don't play with yourself. So the simple strategy, the VTSA strategy is one simple plan. Building a successful investment portfolio, you don't need all these complex maneuvers. Our strategy is built on simplicity, proven principles, and clear phases to guide you to financial independence. So you want to build the wealth and not working for years, maximize growth by staying fully invested in the market. Approaching retirement 5 to 10 years out, begin to de-risk your portfolio. So one of the ways that you can do that, they talked about adding bonds, right? And that's the VBTLX. Because when you're a little older, you don't want to have so much volatility. And in the event that something does happen in the market, the bonds are going to be able to hold you up. So in your basket, you would want to put the VTSAX with the VBTLX so that it's a balanced growth. Okay. That's an important piece. And when you have that balance, and then you're able to do the 4% rule, which is adjusted for inflation and to ensure that your money is lasting. So this is a whole thing here. Okay. I encourage you again, once we finish today's session, that book is 4 hours, right? And then the podcast where he's on being interviewed, and there's tons of them on YouTube, but I like the one with Hassan Minaj because he's funny and he kind of just pushes the envelope and pushes the envelope and he asks all the right questions of JL. Okay. So make sure you check that out. So, generational wealth, how to change your family tree forever. The VTSAX strategy isn't just about personal financial freedom, it's about creating a lasting legacy that benefits generations to come. He calls it FU money. And you know what that FU stands for. And when I heard him say it, I was like, wow, I didn't expect that coming from him. But to get your FU money, you got to do some things to set you in place. So the generation 1 is you. Generation 2, your children. Generation 3, your grandchildren. So we want to make sure that we're not just securing, retirement for yourself, but you're changing the family tree forever. And our next session where we talk about trust and getting a whole life insurance, how we can keep that generational wealth going, just like the Rockefellers did, just like the Gettys did. These are things that we want to keep in place, but not like their Vanderbilts because they lost their money. They don't have it the way these others have built generational wealth and created these trust fund babies, okay? So it's important that we note that. You got to build that tree, grow that tree, okay? Starts with you. So we got to have a mindset shift. Unlocking true financial freedoms requires more than just your strategy. You got to make a shift in how you think and how you see the money that comes in and the way that you think about the things that you buy, the things that you have, where you live, what's purposeful and what's just fluff. Things that we're doing just, to keep up with the Joneses. Cindy, hi. even though your new last name is something else, but um, paying attention to those things, okay? So that we are not trying to keep up, that we are establishing a new way of being so that we can pass that down. We don't have to continue to do the things that the generations before us did because you're getting all this information. You got to do something with it. So you got to go from a consumer to an owner. Stop only buying products, start buying companies that make those products. You become a co-owner benefiting from their growth and their success. I just bought something for my camera, Sony. In that VTSAX, Sony's in there. That camera piece is helping me to film my documentary, which is part of my, seven, different income streams. So we want to pay attention now in a way that's different than before, not just buying to be buying. And then we have to look at, are we always trying to get something right away? We got to go from instant to delayed gratification. You don't have to buy it now. You can say no and say yes to financial freedom tomorrow. This is a huge shift, prioritizing the long term goals over immediate pleasures. We have to start to track our spending, look at the things that we can eliminate. I did that the other day. I got out of a lot of different like subscriptions. I looked at things that I was purchasing, even with my apps from Netflix, just things that I do not need that I could just turn off and use that money to put into either my M1 pies or Fidelity or VTSAX. Okay. And we go from scarcity to an abundant mindset where we're not thinking that wealth is just for other people. It's about us being disciplined and understanding that the market rewards anyone who participates consistently. And you deserve wealth and you can build that wealth. Okay. And that's what we focus on in our Money Moves Academy, how to build that wealth and learning what we can do to do it safely so that we're not just out here freestyling. We do need guidance, but we don't want to make, erratic decisions. And sometimes those erratic decisions are things that we purchase, but we want to purchase things that are going to be assets and things that are going to help us to build the wealth. Okay. So there's some common objections, but we're going to debunk them, why they're wrong. Don't let common misconceptions hold you back from building your wealth. Here are the biggest investing myths, and we're going to bust them. Okay. I don't have enough money to start. You can start with as little as $10. It's all about how you want to direct it and what energy you want to put behind getting the app, finding out how do you send that money. What are you going to purchase? We looked at how to find these different stocks and put them on our phone, and we can do a watch so we can, see what's happening with the stocks. You got to get involved. Begin just right where you are. That's all. The market is too high. I'll wait for a crash. We looked at REITs, some of them $10, $12. We looked at the different stocks. We looked at ETFs that are all bundled together. They're inexpensive. There's always an avenue for you to get in. And there is this fear that, we've kept countless investors on the sidelines for decades, causing them to miss out on massive gains. Time in the market beats time in the market. We said that earlier. I don't understand investing. It's too complicated. That's why I created this Money Moves Academy. Okay. So that we can break it down into its smallest compounds and understand it. But the VTSAX strategy is incredibly simple. Set it and forget it. You buy VTSAX, add money consistently, never sell, and let the time do the heavy lifting. That's truly it. There are a lot of things that we buy that we don't even think twice about. Throw in the trash, give to Goodwill. By redirecting our money, we have a mindset shift again that says, I value my time, I value the money that I make, and I'm going to show that by doing something that's important with it that's going to help me and my family. Okay. My friend lost money in the stock market. Most losses occur when people panic and sell during downturns or invest in individual stocks without diversification. We're looking at 3,500 stocks. Even with an ETF, you're still diversifying. And then they're telling you in the simple path to wealth, add bonds to it. to help balance it out. That's a pretty smart strategy. And their strategy focuses on the long-term index fund investing, okay? Long term, that is the goal, okay? So the cost of not investing, we looked at that earlier. The real cost of not investing, choosing to keep your money in a traditional savings account. Our first class was on high yield savings account and the importance of them, even a money marketing account. We talked about that as well. So it comes with significant hidden costs. And this is not a place for us to bemoan the fact that we didn't have this information. Our parents didn't teach us, they didn't know. If we didn't learn it in school, that wasn't part of the curriculum. But we're getting it now and we can do something now. That's the important thing. But the lost potential for growth when we don't start can be exacerbated by just resting on our laurels. That is not what we're going to do. And that's why this support group is necessary, because we keep it a safe space, because it is a lot of terminology that we are not using in our normal everyday parlance. The terms are, specific to this, the investment world. But that doesn't mean that we don't get to use what we have, Investopedia, Market Watch, and get those terms broken down, YouTube University, so that we can understand them and make it easy for us to do these things that we're talking about today, okay? And so you can see right here with the graphic, the savings account, VTSAX, and investing, that growth is exponential, right? So let's look at some real success stories from real people and real results. These are not just theoretical projections. There's real individuals and families who have achieved remarkable financial freedom by consistently applying the VTSAX strategy. Their stories prove that this path is accessible to everyone. So the teacher from California started with $300 a month at age 28 and retired at 58 with 1.2 million. The teacher says, I just bought VTSAX and ignored everything else. A single mom from Texas began investing $150 a month at age 35 and retired at 65 with 680K. I thought I'd work until I died. VTSAX gave me freedom. A couple from New York invested $600 a month starting at age 30 and retired at age 55 with 1.8 million. We drove old cars. Now we're retired and our friends are still working. This is real. It actually happens. These aren't lottery winners. And I'll tell you a small little anecdote. People who win money through the lottery often are broke within 2 years. The reason being, they don't have any financial literacy, information, someone who can guide them to teach them what to do with the money. And then they have these habits that were never corrected, and they just continue to pour good money after bad. And it's a fact. You can Google it. And that also happens to athletes as well, because they come into all this money and they haven't learned exactly how to either invest it, how to properly save it, and then it ends up just slipping through their fingers, okay? So we don't want that to be any of us here in the Money Moves Academy. So these are normal people who invest in consistently and let the power of compound interest work its magic, okay? Compound interest. So your action steps for the week: you're going to open your Vanguard account tonight or tomorrow. Don't overthink it. Just do it. Even if you just set it up, calculate your number. Find 100, find 500 in wasteful spending. This is your monthly investment. Make your VTSAX purchase, transfer money, buy VTSAX or buy VTI, okay? But when you go on Vanguard, you can pull them up and see what the prices are right now for them. Okay. But again, if you do VTSAX, you'll have to do the 3,000 in order to get in. But if you do VTI, which is the same, but an ETF version, then you don't have to come up with that much. So you can come up with your plan based upon your number that you calculate. Set up automation, schedule automatic transfers every payday, remove willpower from the equation. Okay. Read The Simple Path to Wealth, get J.L. Collins' book. It'll change your life, honestly. And again, I sent it in our previous emails, a link for the PDF, and also the online version, the audio version. But if you like touching paper like I do, get the book and tell one person, share this knowledge, spread the generational wealth. Make sure you direct them to this video because it is being recorded and it will be on my Dana Mac YouTube channel as well. Okay. So I'm going to pause right here and I'm going to show you, we're going to get into a video. Okay. So how are you guys all faring? I hope everyone's doing well and we'll keep this going. But I want to show you a video so that you can see clearly what I am talking about. Okay.
Attention retirees. If you're willing to be at your computer from 9 a.m. to 10:45 a.m. on most, you were going to pour all.
Okay, so let me bring you in so you can see the video too. Share. Where'd it go?
All of your extra. You were going to pour all of your extra money into this investment in order to achieve financial independence. Let's talk about the pros of doing something like that. Number one is broad diversification. By investing in VTSAX, you're essentially buying a piece of the entire US stock market, spreading out your risk across many sectors and company sizes. The next pro is its low cost. VTSAX has a low expense ratio, meaning more of your money stays invested and compounds over time. There's no need to pick individual stocks or consistently rebalance your portfolio. Investing in one asset takes the stress out of everything. The next pro is its proven track record. You see, VTSAX invests in the entire US stock market. And historically, the US stock market has done extremely well over the long term. The next pro is automatic reinvestments. Now, dividends can be automatically reinvested with VTSAX, which means further compounding your investment growth. And the last pro is accessibility. With a relatively low minimum investment, you can own the entire stock market. And so for a lot of people, when they consider all of these pros, the broad diversification, the low cost, the simplicity, the proven track record, automatic reinvestment of dividends, and accessibility, one has to ask the question, Why invest in anything else when you can own it all with this one index fund?
And again, there are more videos that are on YouTube where you can continue to learn more about VTSAX. Now I want to show you the actual author of
underlying principle.
okay. So here is J.L. Collins being interviewed. Let me share this with you. Okay. Let's make it a little bigger. It's a very good interview. Like I said, Hassan holds his feet to the fire and asks all the hard questions. Let's see, let's go back a little bit. Okay.
Just retire early.
Financial independence, retire early, which is, by the way,
Yeah.
that is the wave. People are talking about this like,
Well,
yeah.
so that's the interesting thing, and it is when I first started writing about this stuff back in 2011, it was not the wave, and it certainly has become the wave. But one of the questions that I get a lot in this community, because new people who discover it and for whom it resonates, they get really excited, and they can't. It's like religion almost. They can't believe that if there was anybody out there who was exposed to this truth, that they wouldn't immediately embrace it. Well, I've been around long enough to know that that's not the case. It's not the case with religion. It's also not the case with the simple path to wealth, right? So I'm under no illusions. I don't think, unlike a lot of people, particularly newbies in the space, who think the whole world's going to go this way. I get questions like, well, JL, what if everybody retires early and nobody's working? What's going to happen to the economy? Well, that might be a problem, but you know what? It's never going to happen.
The underlying principle of this, the
Right.
ability to work for who you want to work
Right.
for, is this idea of fuck you money.
Right.
What is financial independence and what is fuck you money?
Okay, understand this is my definition.
Okay.
So I think a lot of people, it's the same thing. It's just different terms for the same concept. For me, financial independence is when you have enough money that it throws off enough money to cover all of your expenses, all of your living costs, and then some, a little bit of a cushion. FU money is what you acquire slowly but surely over time as you take those steps to get to full FI, where you're financially independent. FU money is important because you might not be able to quit your job forever at a certain stage. But if you have enough fuck you money, you can quit your job and take a sabbatical for a while you look at other options. Maybe you were working at a company that you liked and for a boss for whom you respected, and then you got another boss and not so much. Well, now you've got the wherewithal and the economic power to step away.
Got it. So fuck
Right.
you is a cushion. It's
Fuck you is a cushion.
Fuck you, I don't got to deal with this shit.
Right.
I have
Right.
a little bit of a cushion.
Right. It's just like going to the gym, right? You get stronger and stronger. And that's not just for going to the gym, but that makes you more resilient in the real world. You know, if you're walking down and you slip on ice and fall down, well, if you're physically strong, you're less likely to get hurt. The more physically strong you are, the less likely you are to get hurt, right? But every little bit helps.
Do you have fuck you money now and full financial independence?
I do, yes, and have for a long time.
How much money do you have right now?
Enough.
Enough. He wasn't going to share that aspect of it. But his idea of FU money starts with this simple plan, right? And making sure that you're following it. And it's quite simple. It's quite simple. So we're going to finish up. Let's go back to our presentation and round it out. I am confident that for what we have created in this community, that will continuously be there to support each other in making this happen. It might be scary, but it's necessary, okay? So when we're looking at the simple rules, the simple rule that creates millionaires: spend less than you earn, invest consistently with VTSAX, never sell, embrace market crashes, ignore the noise, teach the next generation, wait patiently. Follow these rules for 20, 30, 40 years, and you will become a millionaire. It's truly that simple. This is about freedom. Remember, you want financial freedom. Money isn't the goal, freedom is the goal. Leave a job you hate, work part-time. And remember, this is also about you when you're getting extra money from those 7 streams of income, putting it in. So it's not just about that 3,000 and the 100 or 200 that you're dedicating. It's about, oh, I just got some extra money. Let me put that in there too. You can be able to say yes when your kids need something, help families in crisis, pursue your passion, travel, rest, give generously, live according to your values, okay? VTSAX is the vehicle. Consistent investing is the road. Time is the fuel, and freedom is the destination, okay? So good old Warren Buffett says, the stock market is a device for transforming money from the impatient to the patient. So if you haven't learned patience, now is the time. Be patient, stay the course, build your wealth, change your family tree. So the resources that I will recommend, the books, of course, Simple Path to Wealth. Get your bookmark. This was a no-brainer for me because I created my money tree using books, okay? The Little Book of Common Sense Investing by John Bogle. Remember, he created Vanguard. And the Boglehead's Guide to Investing. There's podcasts, Choose FI, Bigger Pockets Bigger Pockets Money. And there's websites. JL Collins, who you saw speaking, has a website. Free Wisdom, Bogleheads.org has a community, and Vanguard.com is where you're going to open that VTSAX or VTI. And they do have a retirement calculator and personal capital for free tracking. Dive into the resources to deepen your understanding and solidify your financial foundation. Consistent learning supports consistent investing. And I will, in my recap email, I will put the book in there again. I will put the link to that podcast where he's being interviewed. It's really funny. You have to check it out. And know that as you begin to, again, attune your ear to the nomenclature of investing and the financial world, it's going to get easier and easier, okay? So again, let's look at our 4-week action plan, because not planning is planning to fail out the gate. But even when you write the plan, you have to execute. Okay. Planning without execution, nothing's going to happen. You got to be self-disciplined. Okay. So your action plan, week 1, foundation and learning. Open that Vanguard account, read the first 5 chapters of the book. But if you get it on the audio, just let it play every day in the car where you're traveling. Make your car your university. Calculate monthly investment amount. Week 2, first steps in automation. Make the first move for VTSAX or VTI purchase. Set up automatic investment. Turn on dividend reinvestment. That's the drip, okay? Deepen the knowledge and share it with someone. When you finish the book, share it with someone that you want to bring along this path and this journey. Your children, your children's children. I started talking to my grandchildren about investing in 2020 when we were out for the pandemic because they were with me. Out of school, talk to them. I had them pick their stocks. I taught them how to follow the stock. And how to purchase a stock and what a dividend. They were not too young. They're not. And then you keep that conversation going, okay? Once you finish the book, review your budget, find more to invest, teach your family what you learned. Do you know that the best way to learn something deeper is to teach it? You don't have to know everything. When you come to an aspect that you like, let me get some more data on that, go to YouTube, get a book. You don't have to be the sage on the stage in order to start this conversation with your family, okay? Just knowing a little bit, enough to be dangerous. That's all you got to do. Point them in the right direction. Week 4, community and long-term view. Join the Bogleheads Forum. Calculate future wealth. Make investing automatic and forget about it, okay? This structured plan will guide you through the essential steps to kickstart your financial freedom journey, ensuring you build good habits from day one. So, just a month ago, I didn't know about the VTSAX. I didn't know about, John Bogle, because I was focused on Fidelity. That's what we focused on. You remember, every week I get a new book. When I started reading this, I opened up my Vanguard account and bought my first VTSAX shares with money that I would have just wasted. Okay. This decision is going to change my life, my grandchildren's lives, my family's future. I'm not special. I'm an educator who decided to take action. Okay. And if I can do this, you absolutely can do this. Okay. You can definitely do it. So the decision point, the most important lesson, this is the most important financial lesson you learn. Don't let fear or doubt or procrastination steal your family's future. You are the one. If you are here today, you are the chosen one. Start today, start small if you must, but you got to start. And knowing that knowledge is power, but execution is everything. You have the knowledge, you have the strategy, you're in this, community, you have the tools, you can ask the questions. What you do in the next week determines whether, you're going to be struggling in 30 years or not. And if I don't know everyone's ages in here, but the sooner you start, the better it is for you and your future in generating that generational wealth and that, what do you call it? The fuck you money. Okay. You want to have the fuck you money, then you need to do what people are doing in order to have the fuck you money. Okay. And I still can't believe that he said that. And it is in the book. It is in the book. So your future starts now. Welcome again to the Money Moves family. You're not just investing, you're building a legacy, and that's important. You got the knowledge, you understand the whys and the how. Your next move determines everything. Make your move. Buy VTSAX. Change your life. The strategy, you have a clear, simple, proven path. The tools, you know exactly what to use to get started. Start today. Start small, but start. Okay? Here's my contact information. Stay connected with me. You can email me. You can, text me. You can DM me. And remember, anything that you contribute to the Money Moves Academy helps it to grow and get bigger. Our videos will be culminating with our business class. So that will be our 8th video. I have opened up a school forum just for you. It's the I Am experience. We'll be focusing on the 8 dimensions of wellness. So not only will we be focusing on financial, we'll be looking at spiritual, occupational, environmental, physical, emotional, all of those 8 dimensions with financial as a piece. We will move into health and wellness on our next go round, but I want to make sure that you are in those communities. The Facebook private group, you can only get in if you've been invited. And the school community, I've sent out those information pieces and I will send them again. You are welcome to join. The link will be in this, in the description for this video for you to join especially if you're on YouTube, you'll see it in the description, and you can continue to get this information because it's important. And this is how we change our families' lives. Okay. So thank you for joining me today. This was great. I appreciate all who showed up for yourselves for special um, this special rendition of the investment 101. This piece was important, guys. I couldn't let this go without having this piece simply because it falls right into the long-term strategy that we talked about when we were focused on fidelity and we were focused on M1, but I could not let you miss this information, okay? The Simple Path to Wealth is the book. The plan is for you to get VTSAX to Vanguard or VTI and just keep building on that, okay? So thank you for your time today. I hope you enjoyed every bit of this session. The Money Moves Academy, we will keep doing our thing and bringing this information to the masses so that we can all get this financial literacy. It's not just for the rich and the wealthy, it's for everybody, okay? So have a beautiful, blessed remainder of your soul nourishing Sunday, and I will see you soon. Thank you for joining me. Thank you. Thank you. We are going to take this to the next level, guys. So have a wonderful week.
Same to you.
Same to you. And let's put it in motion. Baby steps work, but the execution is the key. The two words you got to write down: self-discipline and execution. And we are creating something big here, and you are a part of it at the grassroots level. So give yourself a pat on the back for that. Go and brush your shoulders off because you are it. Have a wonderful rest of the week, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Dana Mack signing off.